Mariners win 3-2. They improve to 29-26 on the season, and they take the first of a 4-game series with the Houston Astros. Let's go over the scoring plays. Mariners get 3 in the first. A big dumper hits a sacrifice fly. Sacrifice fly seems so unfair there, but it does at least get the run home. Terrific catch by Jake Myers, but it scores JP Crawford to make it 1-0. Ty France singles to left to score Julio Rodriguez to make it 2-0, and Mitch Haniger singles to center to score Mitch Garver. 3-0 at the end of one. Astros get 2 in the fifth. Jose Abreu singles home Jake Myers, and Victor Carantini hits a sacrifice fly to score John Singleton. 3-2. End of scoring in a game that was tense, but not necessarily exciting. Does that make sense? Tense, but not necessarily exciting. The only real negative here is that the offense was bad after the first inning. You don't score a single run. You don't really threaten a whole heck of a lot. Individuals that had rough games offensively. Nobody real. Jonathan Clase. Jonathan Clase has looked pretty rough at the plate. He's not ready to be a major league hitter. He's just not. He improves them vastly defensively, but he's not a major league hitter right now. It's the proof is in the pudding. The other negative tonight, I think, was congrats to Ryan Bliss on making his MLB debut. I think that was the right call to see if his offense can play at the highest level with Jorge Polanco going on the injured list. Obviously, that's a negative too. And it's concerning just because it's something that has bothered Polanco for the overwhelming majority of the last few years. So something to definitely keep an eye on, and you don't really have to keep an eye on it because it's literally happening. It's literally happening that Polanco is unavailable for you for at least the next 9 days. Ryan Bliss does get the call, and congrats on drawing the walk. He didn't look overmatched in any of his plate appearances. We talked about this on the subscriber chat before the game, and thank you to everybody who's come out to that. Thank you for everybody who's spent that $4.99 a month. I really appreciate it. But we talked about one of the biggest issues with Ryan Bliss is that there are concerns about his defense. And there were a couple of defensive mistakes here today. None of them called errors, but ends up being defensive mistakes. First one is a bad throw to first base. Now, I think Ty France should have made that play, but it wasn't a good throw. Just because Ty France should have caught it doesn't mean it was a good throw. Those two things are not mutually inclusive or exclusive. And then on a ground ball up the middle, he's got to charge it. He lets the ball get to him. It ends up leading to a first and third situation with 2 outs, thankfully, so it doesn't hurt the Mariners. But he did not look great defensively. First game, some jitters, got to catch some pop-ups. I'm super excited for him. I love to see. I'm not a short king per se. I'm not super tall. I'm like 5'11", maybe 6 foot on a good day. He is not. And it was fun to see Jose Altuve and Ryan Bliss combining for about maybe 11 feet 1 inch, something along those lines, because he is a diminutive young man, and I'm wishing him the best of luck. But he's got to play a little better defense than he did tonight. Any other negatives? Nope. So let's get to the positives, and let's get to Simply Seattle and thank them for providing the very best in Seattle sports gear. Great stuff for the Mariners, of course, you know that. But they also have the Sounders, the Seahawks, the Storm, Supersonic Sounders. I think I may have said that already, but look at how pretty that hat is. I love this hat. And great stuff for other teams too. Huskies, Cougars. You can find it all at Simply Seattle. And once you find it all, use code MOLLYWOP15 to save 15% off your order. MOLLYWHOP15. It's a great deal from great people. Thank you so much to simplyseattle.com. Okay, the positives. So Bryce Miller did scuffle over the last couple of innings, but overall, I think this is absolutely a positive, especially considering how mediocre he looked in the last 2 outings. A lot of pitchers are going to look bad against the Yankees and the Orioles, to be fair. But at times he looked kind of overmatched. And he didn't look overmatched today. Even in the 5th inning, where things started to unravel a little bit, he gets out of the inning, big time, get out of that inning with the lead. And for the first 4 innings, he was phenomenal. Didn't give up a hit. Gives up that first hit in the 5th. And I think the one thing I want to see more of from Miller is just escaping those jams, doing a better job when he has to pitch in those situations. And that'll come. He's a second-year player. But as I've said a billion times, and by the way, they have now charged Ryan Bliss with an error. So he does get an error in his debut. That stinks. One of the things that'll come with time is Ryan Bliss being more confident in his stuff, more willing to I think sometimes he needs to challenge guys more. Now, he didn't have to challenge guys tonight because umpiring. I mean, it was just a coin flip tonight. I'm sorry. I know I said I wasn't going to talk about it anymore. It's so bad. And Angel Hernandez, I wish you luck in your retirement, and I also wish you good riddance because I am super happy I never have to watch you call another Major League Baseball game. All right, got that out of my system. But I thought Bryce Miller pitched pretty well tonight. Who else pitched well tonight was the bullpen. Trent Thornton gets the job done. A big double play there and a good throw from Bliss on that play as well. Gets out of that jam completely unscathed. Gabe Spire was phenomenal. And against Kyle Tucker and Yordan Alvarez, two of the very best left-handed hitters in baseball. Not just left-handed hitters in baseball. Two of the best, just flat-out players in the sport. And he more than held his own. Gets the strikeout of Tucker. You know, the ball wasn't hit super hard, but ends up being a 1-6-3. Takes care of that and gets the final out. Gabe Spire had not looked good as of late. And while we talk about reliever ERA being such a misleading stat, 6.32 is a little bit indicative of how much he'd struggled lately, especially considering how good he was to start the year. If they can get this version of Gabe Spire going forward, it is a massive boon for this bullpen. Not Aaron Boone, not Brett Boone, but the actual word boon. And then Andres Munoz is just... It's so crazy to think that he's underrated, but he is. A 1.54 ERA, and I'm going to be a hypocrite and talk about a reliever ERA again. But you just watch Munoz pitch right now, and if you don't think he's one of the top 3 or 4 relievers in baseball right now, I don't think you're paying close enough attention. He's sensational. He has been sensational for the overwhelming majority of the year and for most of his career, too. Was he disappointing in September last year when everybody was disappointing? Yeah. The only concern I have with Munoz is whether or not they can get him enough help to say, I don't want them to overthrow this guy, man. I get it. I want him in every possible high leverage situation possible. It's got to be tough to keep him healthy if you have to do that. They've worked him hard this year. So it'd be nice to get some 7-run wins and let this guy rest a little bit. Now, he did get a nice little rest because the Mariners stunk over the 4 games before Sunday, and there was no reason to pitch him. So that was nice. But that's the biggest concern. Can they keep Andre Munoz healthy and not overwork him, overextend him? Because boy, oh boy, do they need him. Boy, oh boy, do they need him. Offensively, great game from Crawford. Gets the big double to lead off the game. Let's just talk about that first inning. That first inning was phenomenal. J.P. Crawford gets the double. Julio does a great job of hitting the ball hard to the opposite field, getting those runners first to third. Mitch Garver draws a walk. You got bases loaded, and Cal Raleigh, who had just been awful as of late. Awful. And I know he goes hitless today, but I think today was a big encouraging game for Big Dumper. Absolutely spanks a ball into the center field gap. And Jake Myers is just a jerk and makes a horrendous play for the Mariners. I don't know why I was going to say horrendous. One of the better catches I've seen this year. He made it look easy, too. That is a hard play. And he makes that play. The Mariners do get the run, but boy, that had to be frustrating for Big Dumper to strike out in 5 straight at-bats and then to scorch that baseball. But they get the run, and then Ty France comes through with a big hit. Mitch Haniger comes through with a big hit, and all of it done without hitting the ball over the fence. And folks, I want to see the Mariners hit the ball over the fence. Of course I do. But it's been concerning how much they've had to rely on the long ball. I'm not saying anything new. they have had to hit the ball over the fence to score runs. It was nice to see them manufacture 3 runs with hard hit baseballs too. Clean single from all of those guys, including the double from JP and a really good at bat from Mitch Garver. Yes, it was your only inning of offensive success, but it was a big inning. You put a 3 spot on the board and you pitched well enough for that 3 spot to hold up. Complete win. Great to see Julio with a couple of hits and a couple of stolen bases. I believe he's up to 13 now on the year, which puts him on pace for right around 35 to 40 again. Obviously, nowhere close to a 35 to homer pace right now, but homered in back-to-back games before that. I've been very encouraged by what I've seen from Julio Rodriguez outside, really, of the Yankee series in the month of May. But obviously, we want to see that ball go over the fence some more. We're not going to complain about 2 for 4. Not even a little bit. Ty France has been so much better with the bat as of late. Gets the big hit, drove a ball into right field. A nice play by Kyle Tucker on a ball that I bet you the average exit velocity was well over 100 on that thing. Mitch Haniger with a clutch hit. It was a good offensive game. It was a good offensive game, even while only scoring 3 runs. I think I might be going a little too far calling it good now that I think about it. It was a great inning, and you saw good stuff from a lot of players tonight. Saw some bad stuff from some guys too. Dylan Moore, outside of a walk, didn't look very good. We talked about Bliss. We talked about Class A. 3 runs isn't enough, but I was very encouraged by that first inning. Very encouraged. And I love that they get this big win to start the series. Gives you that chance to win 2 out of 3 and get a 3 out of 4. Obviously, we're hoping for a sweep because, that's what we want. We want them to win every single baseball game. But when you win that first one, winning that series becomes so much more likely. Obvious point is obvious. But nice to see. Nice to see. Nice to see the last 2 games after those previous 4 were just borderline demoralizing. Good win. Good win. Please hit like, please hit subscribe. I'd really appreciate you guys subscribing if you haven't yet. I really want to hit that 1,500 mark. It might be asking a little too much now. I'm going to have something on Tuesday that I'll show you that's pretty cool. If we hit that 1,500, I'm going to give it away. It might involve a certain left-handed pitcher with a certain slider that got a lot of hitters out. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And that shows you how bad I want to reach this 1,500 by the end of May. Thank you so much. Very nice win. And appreciate Andre Munoz because what you're seeing right now from him is special.